Hello, hi, it's Sharon here from EarthSong Essences, and today I'd like to share with you some of my experience of working with the flower essence of nettle, and in particular how it's coming forward as an energetic adaptogen for this electrical age. Okay, so first of all, what a flower essence is, we'll start there. Flower essences, the best way I like to describe them is that when we look at our plants, we kind of know them very traditionally through the herbal medicine and through their physical actions. And the way it presents itself to me is that when we see a plant, we see, plants have got their very physical anatomy, haven't they? The same as we've got our physical anatomy. They've got their roots, they've got their stems, they've got their branches, they've got their leaves, they've got their flowers. That's very physical. And when you work with the herbal or part of the plant, or the essential oil part of the plant, or an essential oil, what you're working with is you're working with that physical component of the plant. Now, when you look at us as humans, we've got our physical anatomy, we've got our bones, our sinews, all of our tissues, our joints, our skin, everything. That's all our physical anatomy. But we've also got a subtle anatomy, and that's working with the chakra system, the meridians, etc. So we've got our physical anatomy, we've got our subtle anatomy. It's the same for plants. Okay, plants have their physical structures, and they also have their energetic structures. And it's the energetic structure that we who work with flower essences are working with. Okay, so when we take a flower essence, when we make a flower essence, what we're doing is we're connecting with that non-physical component, that more energetic, or some would call spiritual or soul component of the plant. Okay, so that's the kind of backdrop, if you like. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm not going to be focusing in on the amazing, incredible array of nutritional aspects that we know nettle has, but much more on this more sort of subtle level. Okay, so going back in time a little bit, when I first made the nettle essence, it was actually coming up to midsummer 2013. So going back a few years here. Now, I'd wanted to make a nettle essence for a while, and the way it kind of works with me is I get what I call my essence feeling. It's very much an invitation from nature to come forward and make an essence with a particular plant or flower or tree or whatever it might be. So I kind of started to get this sort of feeling about nettle. Nettle was calling me. And in conversation with a very good friend of mine who's a beekeeper, discovered this enormous amount of nettles in an area in the deepest, darkest Hampshire where I live. And very interesting story to this, where this particular patch of nettles is. And very similar to like the French use the term terroir. The location of where something is made will inform its properties. The location of this place is very interesting, how it informed the properties of the essence. So basically what this place is, it's middle of Hampshire, used to be in years gone by a municipal dump. So, back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, people were dumping their mattresses, their toasters, their cassette player, everything, and their electrical goods, including fridges with radon gases in. So as a consequence, this is long before we kind of knew or understood about the impact that this could have in the land. So basically what's happened over time is this piece of land has, before a better word, contaminated. It's not able to be used for anything else, not possible to build anything on there. None of the traveling community are allowed to go on there because it's a really toxic piece of land. So it's been left to nature. And several years ago, the Hampshire beekeepers began to use it. They kind of lease it from the council on a peppercorn rent, which is basically they get to put their beehives on there. And so, for want of a better word, it's a bee sanctuary. Okay, so this massive piece of land is just nothing on there apart from lots and lots of nettles, like over 6 foot high nettles, huge, big, thousands and thousands of nettles, and a few orchids, a few other plants, and lots of bees. So this was where I made the nettle essence. Okay, so and I'll never forget that day. It was a really lovely, one of those lovely hot sunny days, and my friend who was taking me to access the site, he lent me a bee suit. So one, because of the bees that were flying around, but actually, as it turned out, it was more to protect me against the nettles, because the stings were like quite fearsome. So there we go. So I go into this area just full of nettles, and I make the essence. And part of the making of an essence process is that you become very attuned to the plant. You basically, you listen very, very deeply as part of the process. And sometimes, for me, I can hear phrases, words in a kind of a plant language, for want of a better word. And the phrase that I heard very clearly coming from the nettle was, I take the sting out of Wi-Fi. And I'm like, wow, okay. That sounds big, you know. So what's all that about? So it's like, and it kind of, I allowed that investigative part of my mind to sort of step in and begin to think about it in terms of the sting of the plant can take out the sting of what we can feel in our energetic field. Now, some of you listening to this may be quite electrosensitive, you may not, but for those of you that are, you'll understand that feeling that you have when you are, you know, perhaps tuning your mobile phone, or you're near a Wi-Fi router, or you get that kind of really, I'm quite electrosensitive, I get a very frazzled feeling, very much very uncomfortable, and I just feel I want to just be outside in nature. I just want to ground myself, and it's a case of having to find ways to do that. Now, we're all living in an electrical age. There's no two ways about that. The time we're in, the numbers of mobile phones, other electronic devices, computers, Wi-Fi's, you know, masts, 4G, 5G coming, you know, these things are kind of really impacting on our systems. And there's been a lot of studies done about the health impacts of these things. I'm going to actually put some links to that in this video, so you can follow that up if you wish. So what I've discovered since using the nettle essence is that my system feels like it gets more dampened down. It feels much more grounded, and also much more easy to cope with the electronic devices in my space. It's just a fact of life that these devices are here. We have to adapt to them. And this is where I really bow to the nettle essence, because the plant itself, as we know from herbal usage, is an adaptogen. And what it seems to be doing now is helping us to adapt to this new electrical age. Okay, so I hope it's all making sense. If you've got any questions, you can always get in touch with me afterwards, and I'm very happy to go through this. It's quite a bit to take in, first time round perhaps, but the energy of the nettle plant, it helps us to harmonize our own electrical field by taking the sting, as I say, taking the sting out of Wi-Fi. Doesn't necessarily prevent that coming in the way that other essences can do, like yarrow and things like black tourmaline, but it certainly helps to take that sting out. So, and there's a few ways that you can use it. Very simply, you can use like the nettle essence. It's like it comes in a, not exactly tincture form, but it's that vibrational essence form, and you can just add drops of that to drinks, to your food even. I mean, even if you want to use skincare as well. I know there's some amazingly wonderful nettle recipes around, so you could add it to those. So that's a very straightforward way of using it. Another way that you can use it, which is quite fun, I've developed a spray, and it's called Zoom Spray. It's back to front, but never mind. Zoom Spray. And Zoom Spray is a combination of nettle and a few other essences, like I've got snowdrop and yarrow and black tourmaline, and as well as essential oil of spearmint. And anyway, that is a really lovely way to just, you know, calm your system down if you're feeling, you know, a bit zoomed out, like you have to use Zoom for your work, or you're just just feeling a little bit electrosensitive. So yeah, so there we are. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover mainly. So very fascinating with all of the amazing physical qualities that we get from nettle. There's also this other level that we can work with as well, this more subtle energy level, this more energetic frequency that we can work with. So and other aspects of nettle that it helps with is generally anybody who's just sensitive to anything. If you're quite sensitive, if you kind of need to have stronger boundaries, then the energy of nettle is really great for sort of helping your energy field feel really strong, grounded, and getting those boundaries in place. So okay, hope that's helpful. Hope you found it interesting. Like I say, if you've got any questions, just get in touch. If you want to buy any of the nettle essence or the Zoom spray, I'll put the links below, so you can do that. And yeah, enjoy another amazing aspect of nettle. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye for now.